Welcome to Fiscal Integrity Group, your ticket to bookkeeping greatness. Hello and welcome to Inexpensive Ways to Market Your Company. I'm Herb Holst. The whole business of marketing revolves around getting you and your business noticed and having clients buy in. At the same time, you don't want to break the bank in doing so. There's usually not a whole lot in the budget, especially in the early going for this type of thing, and yet you need the business. As bookkeepers, you all know about cash flow. You may start off having more time than cash in order to do your marketing, so you need to make most effective use of both. Still, how much time can you afford to spend? Regardless, you need to let people know that you're alive and open for business, and that's what it's all about. The trick here is to see what resonates with you and your potential clients and what brings them to the table so that you can then in turn offer your services, quote on them, and hopefully land them as customers. Just remember, there's a lot of work out there. Every business needs a set of books, and that's where you come in. How you market needs to reflect you, your budget, and the kind of clients that you're looking for as well. There are expensive ways to market yourself, and there may be a place for them in the future, but not necessarily right at the start. These would include things like TV ads, radio ads, newspaper ads and flyers, yellow pages or similar vehicles that have you not only in book form or your contact information in book form, but perhaps online as well, and direct bulk mailings. These are all somewhat expensive, and it's kind of tough at times to gauge how effective they are, especially in terms of dollars for effort or money per effort. There's also professional branding campaigns, and these can certainly take a good business and launch it into the stratosphere, and they're very well done if you get in with the right company, but they are extremely expensive, and it may not necessarily be a consideration for you in the early going. I'm going to go through 38 marketing considerations for you, the ones that are somewhat less expensive. Many of these we have used ourselves, and some of them are somewhat more overt and may or may not cost some money, but still, again, it's about your budget and what you can afford as well as what you need. Others are more subtle but effective nonetheless. I recommend that you consider your overall strategy and that pretty much everything you do out there has a potential for some marketing impact. It may involve things that you don't even realize. Decide what will work for you in terms of your time, budget, and even your personality. It must resonate. Let's have a look. For starters, it's all about the referrals. Networking and referrals are still the best and most efficient way to get new business. It's a matter of building relationships and cultivating them to your advantage so that people know you and will remember you when the time comes to send business in any direction. You want to make sure that they're sending it in your direction. You need to educate people as to what you can do, what you have to offer, what you bring to the table. Now, obviously, the best ones for you as bookkeepers would include the likes of accountants, for instance. If they like your work, if you've done work for a company and you send their accountants a beautiful set of books, they will no doubt have others that could use that same kind of service, and they would be happy to refer to you. Satisfied customers, and again, an obvious choice. You've already got their business, you're working for them, and it's said that it's easier to keep a customer than to find a new one. Well, it's not only a matter of keeping them, but impressing them to the point that if they have other acquaintances, business or otherwise, that need your kind of service, they're going to remember you and say, hey, I know just the person for you or the company for you. Now, business acquaintances. As you go through business, you're going to make a lot of acquaintances, whether it's suppliers, vendors, customers, you name it. Make sure they know what you do, what you have to offer, and that, again, you'd be happy to deal with them or anyone they know when it comes to providing your services. And even casual acquaintances are sometimes worth keeping in mind as well. You never know who somebody knows, and it just may be that when that person runs into somebody that needs your services, that they'll remember you, and that's only a good thing for you. At best, it'll only cost you some time, but there may be some expense to going out and meeting people and investing some of your time and perhaps even a bit of money to cultivate the relationships. But I'll tell you, it's money well spent. It's by far the easiest or most efficient way of generating new business. Now, you obviously have to consider a website at some point in time. You'll need a website for people to go out and find out about you and your services. It needs to be there so that people can refer to it. Yours is in competition with all the other bookkeeping websites that people will see, so you got to make sure that yours stands out to some extent, but at the same time don't go overboard because it can cost you a lot of money for a really, really expensive site.
And the trick is to make sure that the site you do have is effective and cost effective at the same time. You need to have some flair, like a killer first page that grabs them and keeps them. This is important because you want them to carry through and look at other parts of your website to find out what services you have to offer, and so on and so forth. Now, websites can cost a lot or they can cost a little. Be budget wise, especially in the early going, but don't be afraid to upgrade your website as time goes on and you have some money to do so. Again, it can only mean more business for you if people find your website and find it the most impressive of the bunch. What it does is it gets you that all-important first interview to find out if you can provide them with the services that they require. You need to make your website clear, you need to make it concise, and you need to make sure that there's a contact page so that potential clients or customers can actually get a hold of you. There are search engine optimization considerations, or SEO, and these too can be expensive, but by the same token, you got to have something there for people to refer to. It's by far the best written medium that can work in your favor. Now, we don't need to forget the power of emails too. A great amount of correspondence is still by email, and it's what people look at all the time, and it needs to reflect you. A good signature at the bottom of the email, at the bottom of each email that can be incorporated into your email program so that it automatically comes up, is part and parcel of an efficient email as a marketing tool. Perhaps have it include your logo as well. And a line like, "Your referrals are our greatest reward." Something like that will have people thinking, okay, business is appreciated and it's a good place to send business. So that's yet another marketing consideration. The possibility of offering free, no obligation consultations and quotes. Put this in all your literature and correspondence, including your website, business cards, emails, what have you. It encourages people to check you out, and it doesn't cost a whole lot, perhaps a bit of time as time goes on, but by the same token, now you have a connection with a potential client, and now you can garner it to, hopefully, business down the road. Embrace social media, things like Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and don't forget YouTube as well. There's a lot of people, especially younger people, that tune into social media, and as such, you can get a lot of exposure there. It doesn't cost a whole bunch except time and perhaps some expense to put together a presentation for something like YouTube. Nevertheless, social media is there. It looks like it's here to stay, so you need to take advantage of it. And again, the expense is mostly time if you do a lot of the embracing of the social media yourself. Another thing you can do is join groups while you're on social media, for instance, of like-minded individuals and compatible groups that will increase your exposure and may lead to referrals. Your cost is the time that you spend to participate. So again, it's exposure and it's getting your name out there, and it doesn't cost a whole lot of money. Blogs and articles on your website. Doing these will help with your website ranking in Google, as well as your positioning of yourself as the expert for those that enter your site and read up. Again, this is information that it'll take you some time to put together and put out there, but it does come back in putting you or positioning you as the expert. Putting links to other sites also increases your exposure, and hopefully they'll link back to yours as well. This is only good things, as people who are looking at other sites may say, oh, I need to find a little more about this, and they will click and enter your site. The cost is your time to research it and to construct these links, to construct the articles, to construct the blogs, but nevertheless, it can work to your advantage. Having a quality business card is still a quick takeaway and an advertisement for you and your business. It's usually the first thing that anybody receives from you, and it can work for you even when you're not there. You can have business cards strategically placed in areas where they may get picked up, and they are reminders of you and what you do. You need to make them stand out, and you need to hand them out often. They're not doing you any good sitting in a desk drawer or a cabinet or what have you. They're relatively inexpensive, even for a good quality business card, and I would suggest that you go with a quality business card because the cost is not that great, and it is that all-important first takeaway. Information and brochures ready to go. As often as not, if you're connecting with somebody, they'll say, well, can you send me something to remind me or to let me see what it is you've got to offer, what you're up to? When people inquire, you need to be able to respond with something tangible, something you can send right away. Physical brochures and handouts are worthwhile, and you're not handing them out like popcorn like you would do with a newspaper blitz or a flyer blitz. This is a qualified request from somebody that's actually probably going to look at it and actually perhaps use it. Consider having this information in PDF format as well, well that you can attach to emails. It's a quick way to get your information to them, and again, it can only help to perhaps get you that all-important first interview. You can actually use PDF converter programs like Qt PDF that are actually free and do a very good job to create a professional and not easily altered presentation for you and your company, a brochure or a flyer or something of the like. Referral networking groups are also important if you have the time and perhaps even sometimes a bit of the money that you'll need to spend in order to join them. This is one that may cost you a bit in time and money, but if you get in with the right group, the opportunities for networking and referrals can be substantial. This is one that we've used to great success in the past because it helps to build relationships, which goes back to point number one way back at the beginning, and it's all about building those relationships. One such group is BNI, or Business Networking International, and this is a group of like-minded business individuals that get together on a weekly basis. There's never competition in the same chapter, if you would, and it's a matter of being able to go there, teach them to basically go out and sell for you. Most chambers of commerce have similar organizations, and you just need to look around to find out if there are organizations that you can use to your advantage to get your name and out there and build your relationships. You need to craft an elevator pitch. So you ask, okay, what is an elevator pitch? An elevator pitch is a short declaration of what you do and can provide. It needs to be practiced and be concise. It's a concise response to a question from anybody on what it is you do. It's about the amount of time it takes to ride in an elevator, hence the name. So generally about 30 seconds long. Don't go overboard on the time because you'll lose people. They'll start to lose interest. But if somebody asks you, what do you do? Well, what are you going to say? Make sure you've got a concise 30-second elevator pitch to push your cause and perhaps pique some interest and get that all-important interview for new business. Become a member of groups like trade organizations, more opportunities again for you to connect with people and build relationships, and again to perhaps even grow your business by finding out what it is that works for them and what may work for you. Try to focus on groups that don't have your direct competitors on board. That's one thing I can advise here. Publish great content like top 10 lists. People love lists just like this one. Make it relevant to your business and what you know. Put them where people will see them, in your website, on YouTube, wherever, but make sure that, of course, it connects back to you. It's mostly your time that it takes to do this, but it is a good marketing strategy that costs you very little. Create instructional videos. This one could take a bit more time, effort, and potentially money, but people do like information. And this, again, positions you as the expert and the go-to person for things that should include your business offerings. Again, put these on your website, YouTube, wherever you can. Just get it out there and make sure that it identifies you as that go-to person. Recycle your content. You've created a number of blogs over time, and the older ones get buried down the list and are a little bit harder to find for anybody that's looking. If they're relevant, consider recycling them, which refreshes your site and helps with your search engine optimization, or SEO. New people won't have seen them, and they won't be searching for them at the bottom of the pack, or if they're in an archived situation where, again, they're not that readily accessible. So if you've got some good stuff, just keep bringing it out to people's attention. Host or run an event or class. Sometimes you need to give in order to gain, and hopefully this amounts to mostly time and minimal expense on your part. But again, it puts you out there and lets people see what you are, or who you are, and what you have to offer. Business card draws. If you're somewhere where it's possible to put in a draw or have a box there with a prize that's available if people drop their business cards into it, and it could be a discount on your services. You just need to position the deposit box in a good location, and at least it gives you some database information that you can pursue by other means. This is just some way of connecting with potential clients. Have a newsletter on your website. Now this one involves a little bit of time, and there's a lot of organizations that have them, but it takes that time and effort. Many organizations will have it linked to their site with sign-up capabilities. There will be just a cost to put this in place, but it should keep people interested. The only drawback is that you need to spend some time and have the creativity to maintain the newsletter. In other words, keep it going perpetually so that people have a new and fresh newsletter to come to as time goes on. All right. Putting a car magnet on your vehicle. This is something that could work if you do a lot of traveling for your business. Magnetic car signs placed on the doors is a rolling advertisement of you and your company. Just make sure it's clear and concise and has contact information like your website and phone number clearly visible. It needs to be large enough that people can see it from a distance and even if it's rolling by. The upside is that you can peel it off when you're not looking to advertise, for instance on weekends or if you're going away for a vacation or whatever and you want to just put it aside and then you just pop it right back in place when it's ready to go. Imprinted balloons. Now we're going to get into some of the more marginal ones, but notwithstanding, these are, again, all advertising and it's all a way of marketing your company. So imprinted balloons at local events for the cost of some balloons and some imprinting and a tank of carbon dioxide. This could have good impact at events, especially with the kids. People take these away and they hang on to them and they look at them and it's a matter of just having them remember that it's you that they need to go to when the time is right. How about donating a prize to an event? This could be a good way to promote yourself with little cost. Just make sure you are advertised well for this. Make sure your business cards go with the prize as well. So a prize is a good way to get that visibility as well. Buy someone dinner. Okay, you got a hotter prospect or a really good potential lead that has the need for your business. It could be a really good investment for the right business prospect. You get their undivided attention for that period of time, and again, you're building a relationship and getting them to know you and you to know them so that both of you can determine if it's a good fit and the way to go. Offer a free class or seminar. This one takes a bit more prep time, but if you're doing it at someone else's event, the cost should be minimal. If you are renting or providing the venue, of course the cost then goes up, but if you're offering a free seminar, you've got people's attention. Hopefully that parlays itself into business. Where you offer this will determine if it's reaching the right audience, so just be a bit careful, but it's a consideration. Use handwritten notes. Now, here's the interesting thing. We live in the world of computers and emails and so on and so forth, but handwritten notes have a way of telling people that they're important. People respond to personal attention. A handwritten note shows that you've gone the extra distance to correspond with them or thank them. Something as simple as a birthday card is an example of this. Not everything needs to be done electronically, and at least handwriting will show that you've spent the extra time and attention to look at them and to thank them or whatever it is you're doing with it. Write a good review for another business. This shows your generosity in helping others promote their business, and hopefully that will inspire people to come to you. People should see this and respond by bringing your business their business. Others may reciprocate and give you a good review as well. It's all about exposure, and this one also doesn't cost a whole lot of money. Perhaps offer free beverages. Something of this nature at an appropriate event, and again, just make sure that people know who it's coming from. People respond to generosity, hopefully with their own generosity. Set up a free listing in Google or Bing. Advertising is advertising. Apparently these two organizations do allow for that. Apparently Yahoo does charge for this, so make your selections. Talk to vendors you buy from. You're already doing business with them. They could be out there selling for you, or at least keeping an eye open for business that you could potentially provide to people they run into. Talk to them and ask them if they wouldn't mind keeping an eye out for you. You never know who they know. All you're asking for is a good word and perhaps a referral if they should come across one. And if they're willing, you might even want to give them a few business cards to pass around as well. People respond to that, and they will pass them around if the right lead comes up. So give that a try. Contribute articles to publications. There are generally business publications in most areas, and it could be trade or other journals, and they're often looking for contributions. It's all about exposure and positions you as the expert. Now be careful here because sometimes they require that you buy an ad in order to provide them with that article for their publication. It's like buying an ad for the privilege. These can be costly, but regardless, if they're hungry for contributions, you may be the one that they're looking for, and it doesn't cost you a lot except the time to do this. Collaborate with non-competitors. A good collaboration can lead to a lot of cross-pollination of business. You may be able to provide them with business based on the people you run into, and vice versa. See what you can do for each other. The best collaborations would be with those in complementary businesses, like accountants again. So collaborate. Let's go to the ubiquitous email blast. These can be effective, but there are risks. Many jurisdictions have anti-spamming legislation that you need to be aware of. Do your homework. You should have an opting out clause somewhere in your blast that sounds something like unsubscribe here. But regardless, make sure the message is good, it's clear, it's concise, and it reflects you and what you have to offer. Offer to give a speech. For those that are not too shy and don't mind public speaking, this is another good one for exposure. It positions you as the expert. It lets people know what you're all about. And for those of you that would rather sit in a dental chair for root canal work, this is one you might want to avoid. Raise your price. Oh yeah, you read this correctly. This may seem bizarre if your price is too low in comparison to the competition. It may give doubt to your expertise and your credibility, so make sure you're priced appropriately, and sometimes it's a matter of having a higher price so that people think, okay, this is the one I need to consider because they should be good. Their price certainly reflects it. Price yourself right based on your expertise, your experience, and what you have to offer. And the mentality that I'm going to in this particular scenario is when you think about it, if you buy a bottle of perfume, for those of you that are into perfume, if you buy a cheap bottle of perfume, you probably don't think it's really that good. But buying an expensive bottle of perfume, now that's something altogether different. So, what's the mentality behind that? So think about it. People do sometimes want to buy the quality stuff. Is yours quality? Price it accordingly. Make it easy for your clients to purchase your services. It's a matter of not only letting them know that you're there and what you have to offer, but they need to be able to get your services and you need to make it easy for them. One way to attract customers is to offer payment services like debit or credit cards, and not everyone is into writing checks for services rendered. The upside is that it could also get you payments faster, so consider it. Terms and conditions. Having a comprehensive set of terms and conditions in your quotes, contracts, and, to a scaled down extent, your website shows that you are a serious player and professional. People need to know that they are dealing with a pro. We have a whole other knowledge nugget on taking care of quotations and contracts with terms and conditions. Have a look at that. It's a good marketing tool as well. It's not always about the direct pitches. You need to consider that whenever you're dealing with potential clients or with people that you're trying to build relationships with. Regardless of how you're marketing yourself, your company, and your services, it's more about the relationship building than the direct pitch for services. People don't respond as well to a direct pitch and a request for business unless they are distinctly in the market for your product and service. Think about it. When was the last time you went to a trade show with the express intent of buying something? You may have, but you were more than likely going to see what's new and available and then to go back and reflect on it. Perhaps collect some of the literature and then make your choices later. So go for the relationships. That's the thing you want to go for. Make sure that you're the one that they consider to be friendly, that they know you, and that they're prepared to do business with you. It's that comfort zone thing. Be reachable with contact information. As you go forward, always make sure that people can reach you. Your contact information should be everywhere. On your website, obviously, but also, again, on your business cards, on any literature that you pass out, even signs that you place, whether it's on your car, your building, what have you. People need to be able to connect with you. When people attempt to contact or connect, get back to them as quickly as you can as well. There's nothing worse than people trying to get a hold of you and then they wait endlessly for you to respond. Responding to them will reinforce your diligence at doing the work for them down the road as well. Say thank you. This is the last one. Obtaining business from anybody is not an entitlement. Everyone likes to feel appreciated. Saying thank you goes a long way with everything, including your marketing efforts. It also reinforces you as the one that people want to do business with and refer their acquaintances to as well. You are the person that they appreciate.
So there you have it, 38 things to consider for your marketing strategy, hopefully inexpensive or within your budget. Make sure to revisit and revise your strategy often. Things do change over time. I'll leave you with a few things to consider as you go forward boldly. Never assume or make assumptions about your customer that they can't afford you, they won't buy into your services, they don't understand what you have to offer, and that they won't price your competition. Don't make those assumptions, and by the same token, don't make the opposite of those assumptions as well, because again, nothing's cast in stone and you never know what's going to resonate and bring business to the table. One last bit of advice for your marketing campaign is to follow the 3 C's. Committed, consistent, confident. I'm Herb Holst. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.
Fiscal Integrity Group, your home for the advancement of bookkeeping and bookkeepers.